And so you must celebrate yourselves for what you are, the real drivers of democracy, the teachers of democracy, the practitioners of democracy, and those who are leading the way to the others to copy what democracy should be. So on this note, I congratulate you, I appreciate you, and I ask you to sustain it. From our union experience, the real agenda for a conference such as this is not even the election of officers. That will come as a matter of routine. The real thing is that it creates a platform for those who have exercised power on your behalf to tell you what they did, why they did it, what was achieved, what was not achieved, and much more importantly, what we now do differently in order to achieve what is yet to be achieved. To have a platform where workers can interrogate leaders, debate, argue honestly on the basis of convictions. No room for psychophancy. You do not describe people who have failed as having succeeded. And you do not say that one man makes all the difference, because no one man can. So for me, this is why I celebrate platforms and occasions such as this. There is no question in my mind that in congratulating TUC and all the founding fathers and founding mothers, you've done so well. From what started in a small bedroom or a parlor, according to Killer, he didn't quite tell her whether it was his parlor or he hired it, whether he has even paid for it. It has now become a national institution, commenting authoritatively in a way that even your opponents can't ignore, making informed opinion on serious issues affecting the Nigerian polity, economy, and society, and refusing to be intimidated even in your poverty, that a man shall not be judged by the strength of his word, but the quality of his ideas. You making all the difference every day. Even when they mismanage the economy, you insist on keeping the wheel of industry going. So I ask you to remain the soldiers of our great nation, insisting that Nigeria must fulfill the promise. It was a promise that we should lead the continent. We are not yet leading. We are not leading politically. We aren't leading economically when you look at the indices. We can't boast of the highest per capita income with whatever anybody wants to say. We are not even the second. We are not the third. Huge gap between promise and reality. But this is not to lament. It is just to point out what is yet to be done and why you must keep on organizing and you must never agonize. When the TUC was registered, the political class, including the leader produced by the party which Killer belongs to, they thought that a strong labor voice is a threat to democracy. And they resorted to old tactics of divide and rule. People asked me to go and plead for NSC not to be split. And I said, no. The future of our movement is not at the mercy of the ruling power. It's in the heart of men and women who work. No worker is defined by reference to the size of his pay packet. Today's worker is tomorrow's manager. And tomorrow's manager is next tomorrow's director. It's a matter of progression. We remain one and the same. And I said, the unity of our movement, people are united by the fact of the privation that they experience. The oppressor can never define the tools of struggle for those who are oppressed. And I think today they are wiser. TUC have become a formidable co-driver, side by side with the NLC, speaking the same language, carrying the national burden, Committee on the economy, the polity, and our society. More voices, more stronger voices, but no contradiction. So those who thought that law rather than heart define your place, they are going back to school. Not just to read theology, but also to understand society and the history of the working people. So on occasions like this, it affords you the opportunity to renew that commitment to work together. NSC and TUC is one and the same in the guarding of the working people. I am sure just now there are a lot of problems confronting the Nigerian worker. Whether that worker is referred to as a junior or as a senior, the operative word is worker. Rising prices, dwindling employment opportunity, industrial obituaries as factory closed down from Ikeja to Oshodi to Apapa to Kano to Kaduna to Port Harcourt to Aba and even to Benin. There are challenges. How to defend jobs in the face of this attack. Not just because the capitalist is greedy, but because the Nigerian capital is even confused. The environment poses challenges to everyone. How much more wages can you ask for if more and more people are unemployed? The greatest source of strength for working people is the fact that jobs are created. When enterprises are in trouble, the capacity for you to bargain with confidence is weakened. And so I imagine what you're going through. But as they say, from the ashes of the old, and that is what I found very, the most attractive part of the song that was rendered so beautifully by those young ladies who led us in the labor songs, that even from the ashes of the old, a new world can be born and will be born when we recognize that in unity, the union can make us strong. You know, Peter so eloquently narrated the story of Brazil, but I wasn't too impressed. Because in the end, he did exactly what he said we shouldn't do. Agonize. No. I'm happy you sat with Lula. Lula didn't have the level of education that you are privileged to have. Lula did not become president by carrying placard and sermonizing to a class that is deaf. Lula, working as a panel beater in a blue-collar sector, recognized that those who are in power can't be persuaded to govern according to your own values. They seek power so that they allocate resources in a way that will favor their class. And you think it is by mistake that you can correct? Or it is a deficit of values that you can sermonize? No. It's about struggle. Lula taught the Brazilian worker the values of struggle and provided leadership for that struggle. I expect Peter to come back to finish his statement that if a union man as president could make a difference, he should come back and tell us how he intends to participate in leading Nigerian workers to acquire power and reconstruct Nigeria. It can't just be to tell us what they have gained. They didn't gain it through ultimatum. No. They engaged the Brazilian ruling class, those who developed Brazil. So by the time you finish, I would like to see your communique, whether you include political neutrality, you know, critical observer, but not seeking to take over the wheel even when you see your vehicle be driven to the lagoon. You got to decide. So I ask us to recognize, and I'm proud of this, we are not tenants of this land. This is our country. And I'm sure Killer will agree, as a politician like myself now, I refuse to be called a politician. I am activist in government. He will agree that our movement is the only one where you can have a national convention such as this, and money is not changing hands. Bank managers are not sweating. There are no small committee rooms where people are going in and going out. They go in lean and they come out fat just before the votes. And this is an affliction that is widespread in the system, cutting across different political parties, not just one. So if you have all these qualities, and you just choose the way that Peter did in his address, all the problem we face, you didn't tell us the solution. Go back to Brazil and ask Lula. What did you do to mobilize Brazilian workers to become partisan? And identify, you can't be neutral. When the resources are being pocketed, you can't be. Where is neutrality? How can you be neutral in a matter that defines your life and the life of your children and even the one yet to born? So as we approach the game, you started earlier and I listened, that all they are talking about is who lead governors forum, who doesn't lead, who impose or not impose. 2015, 2013. What is your own date? What's your own date? If the people are dancing naked, are you ready to put on your own clothes? Or you just watch and say, why are they dancing naked? You create alternative platform and wear your clothes so that spectators can choose whether to partake in the one characterized by naked dancers or the one where people appear organized with sense on their brain. You must create the platform. So I want organized labor to realize that the days are gone when we celebrate our non-partisan stand, because national economy is structured by the nature of the partisan contestation. And it requires courage, because the possibility of failure exists, but so also the possibility of success. If you don't take risk, nothing is going to change. You taught me to fight. You taught me never to be afraid, never to go on my knees, which is why I'm on my feet. So let's come on with the job and not live to think that we can sermonize to people who are clear. In Edo State, few people said to me, this Godfather, there's nothing you could do. They have money, they have connection, they have state instrument, they control judiciary. I said, but they don't control our heart. Are they God? A few years down the road, they are on OCG in Abuja, banished from home, with the power of organizing and mobilizing and speaking the language that the people understand. We have the gift. We have it. They don't have it. So let me ask you, as we approach 2015, I expect the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress to look at the forces and ask themselves the question, which one are you comfortable with? Stand up and identify and be counted. You want change. Change will come through slogan. Change will come through activism. Our time is almost up. If we are not counted now, nobody may be alive to be counted. So I want to celebrate what you've accomplished. I want to appreciate all that you said, but I ask you to go beyond talking it to doing it. My president asked me, he teased me, and it's the first time he's doing that to me. President Umar, he said, Adam, I hear you were also present where the election of governors was being rigged, and you were there. I said, how about Umar? This is not fair. I don't know which side of the divide he has classified me, whether the Jaga Jaga side or the Michinai side. He didn't go as far. leaving me wondering what scores he gave me. But let me also say that these are the issues for which organized labor can't be neutral. I read the communique of the NLC on this issue, and I wasn't satisfied. They were summonizing to governor to behave. If two people contest for an election, one won, one lost, you can't be appealing to them to behave. Appeal to the one misbehaving to stop misbehaving. We can't be neutral. How many years are we going to live on this planet? What are we going to be remembered for? That we were silent when everybody was going crazy? No, President, no. I've also said that until there is balance of madness, we may never regain our sanity. And I believe so. I believe so. 35 people went into a room. And then they were talking. Let us be reasonable. The world is watching us. One by one, they were sermonizing that very seasoned Pentecostal pastors about the promise. And I said to them, you are behaving exactly, some of them, like the proverbial arm robber, which Father now Bishop Kuka was shared this story with me. And I said so dear, what I'm going to say to you now. When I listen to them sermonize about the need for concessors, the need for this, the need for that, not to fight naked, I said, and I was drawing on all the things I learned from labor. I said, some of you are talking like arm robbers. The arm robber in Lagos who stopped a guy in a car around the airport road, rushing to the airport. And he asked the guy to bring the money. This man said, I have no money, sir. I said, with this guy you are, he said, I have no money, sir. My wife is there, I'm just, you sure you have no money? Open your pocket. And they opened the pocket, there was no money. The arm robber brought out his gun and said, yeah, remove your belt. And he pulled down the trousers, only to find that this big man was hiding the dollars between his two legs under his pint. And the arm robber was scandalized. And he said to this man, you see the problem of Nigeria. A whole big man like you, come on to admit you have money inside you, you refuse. How can Nigeria make progress? When a man cannot tell an arm robber he has money, rich man, no shame. The arm robber was lamenting aloud. And blaming this man and using him as an example why Nigeria is not making progress. Because big man can't tell arm robbers the truth about the extent of his asset, movable or immovable. And I said to them, that's how you are doing. You are about to dance naked. And you are saying, let's not dance naked. The whole world is watching you. Meanwhile, you are losing your bet and about to dance naked. And then we have people who said, we must do open ballot. So how can we do open ballot? When you are already fighting before the ballot, let's do secret ballot. People lecture me on where the word secret ballot was invented. I say, wherever it was invented, it has been domesticated worldwide. And all the governors who claim to have been elected, whether rigged or genuine like me, I was elected, but not so many, not every other person. Niger was elected, by the way, so don't worry. And I said, we are product of secret ballot. Why are we afraid now to do secret ballot? One governor, one vote. And 35 men voted. And my twin brother from Delta became the chief agent of the two candidates. He left his seat into the center of the conference room to stand by the DG who was unanimously appointed 1 month earlier as a returning officer. And they counted 35 papers. They had 36, but one person was absent. So one by one, in the open secret ballot, we voted. And they say, where was the ballot paper prepared? What is ballot paper? It was a paper, you wrote 2 names. Take the one you want. You didn't need to award contract to North Korea to print your ballot. And we voted. And they counted this vote. They were 35, representing the 35 people present. And when they were counting, Jang, the Niger governor said, Jag in early lead. Early lead indeed. Jang. He was jagging on and they were smiling. After the jaga, then Mechi. And in the end, the votes were out. Jagging 60 votes. Amechi, Macha in 90 votes. So, winners say, then the very people who voted say, no. We got to work. How can you work out? Even in madness, there are levels of madness. You may never know that I have psychiatric condition if you have not engaged me in a prolonged conversation. And you begin to see that, my statements are not adding up. Then you say, wait a minute, are you sure the guy is all right? But that is okay. It requires an expert to confirm my status. But if I were to live here with all my pints and everything out, with my Adam and Eve marching on the street, do you need a doctor to tell you that I am truly insane? Unfortunately, people who call themselves Christians and Muslims, who insist they are executive governors, were demonstrating executive irresponsibility. All in an attempt, just sycophants. So when the facts are so clear, COMRADE President of NLC and TUC, you can't be quiet. You can't. You must take a position. If you believe from all that you have heard and seen thereafter that Jag won, say so. Say so. But if you know he lost, tell him to stop jagging. That is it. Those are the values of truth that I learned from Labour. Because as someone who told me when I was growing up, said, whether you tell the truth, on the date you shall die, you can't postpone. But also, if you choose to live the life of a liar, you can't live 1 minute longer than you have been destined. But the difference is, even in death, those who spoke the truth, there is a space in heaven. But those who live the life of a rogue, their place in hell is defined and clear. So if this is the ultimate, how many more years do we have? Well, there was a debate about my age, whether I'm 60 or 61. But whatever you take, I have already spent more years than I have left. No matter what I say. So what do I want? That at old age, I choose to be a slave. When will I fight for freedom? When? If a small man, a young man is a slave, then he hopes that he will struggle before death to be free. But when those who are already departure hall or approaching departure hall choose to be enslaved, they will die slaves. May I never be one of them. And you have to choose which one you want to be. So, Comrade President, this matter is serious. It's not about the Governors Forum. It's about democracy. And I need you to know the implication if you don't already know. If we can dispute or contest whether 16 is majority over 19 in a small election, are you then expecting that 2015 election will be free and fair? Do you need to wait to get there before you see it? The time to fight it is now. It's today, not tomorrow. And it's about you. It's not about them. That is it. So I didn't want to go this far, but since you teach me, I realized that you know the problem is there. And I saw a few of them. I don't want to mention their name because they are my friends. They are saying that they have said they will zone this thing from the north to the south. Who among them is governing on the basis of northern interest or the basis of southern interest? People are helping themselves while using north-south to shield themselves from accountability. Why they sold those, you should tell them to shut up. Because they are suspect, both in the bars of the north and in the bar of the south. They are. They are. And then they said, oh my God, how could you say, and then NCTC, you are listening, that votes were cast, that people signed a document in April for election that was to take place at the end of May. And that it is the informal one in April that is valid, not the one that was casted in May. Confirming the joke that some of these comments they are used to make about the efficiency of the Nigerian electoral system. It takes the Americans about 24 hours for the president to emerge. The British, about 20 hours. Nigeria, 2 months before, they know the winner. So for the Governors Forum, we knew the winner in April, even though the election was to be done in May. And NSC is watching, TUC is watching. You can't watch. It's not funny. We have enough comedians. Governors should not be part of the comedy industry. I reserve my own skill until the end of my tenure. I can try some comedy. But right now, I'm going to have to work in Edo State. So I'm sorry I took you out of your TUC matter, but I thought that you needed to understand. So just to say to you that there are issues, but in all, I am convinced that no matter what you say, our nation is much more than the sum total of all the problems that we'll be talking about. If we recognize that from the ashes of the old, a new Nigeria can be born. I should rehearse it, that labor song. Our economy is facing challenges. And I need you to engage on specifics. I need you to engage on specifics. We must revisit our industrial policy. Emphasize production and not importation. Peter, you come from the oil sector. When will the refineries work? When? By your resolutions. PPB, PPIB, whatever. However the oil sector is managed, do we need PPIB before we can make refinery work? Let me say, no law will be perfect. I believe the PPIB law is necessary. Don't misunderstand me. But you know, when people want to provide a new agenda, I insist, the one on the ground, the item 9, let's finish it. So I think we need to emphasize that Nigeria must return to production. We must only make refineries work, we must build new ones so that more people can be employed. You can resolve that we stop importation today. If they don't, what we do tomorrow? Where are our young engineers going to work? When we are exporting jobs and importing unemployment, exporting prosperity, importing poverty. Economics is not about statistics. It's about real human beings, their well-being. There is no better person to manage, to measure whether the economy is working or not than those who are in it. So I ask us in the labor movement, let's take the struggle further. The individual unions can be buffeted with the issues of wages and incomes and all that. The labor movement must be politically engaged. You now know that for this year, our budget has not been performing. All the debate about cut-off point or cut-off mark or benchmark or table mark or spoon mark for the budget, in the end, the National Assembly resolved it. And there were speculations by all kinds of analysts. And you know, our analysts often put their reputation on the line depending on the next consultancy that they want. They tell us that the world economy is going to come down. The Americans have discovered new fuel. There are things happening in China. Economy is stagnating. Therefore, oil price will drop. And I say, when they talk like that, they talk as if the world is static. It is not. Those nations who are experiencing those problems, they are not sleeping on the problem. They are working to change those conditions. In any event, it's now no more theory. 6 months into the new year, oil price has performed over and above the benchmark. True or false? So what happened to all the forecast? Oil is performing more than between 20 and 25% more than the budget. And yet the Edo State government, we are not able to receive our share of the Federation account as and when due. Why? They say they can't fund the budget. Why? Because we are selling less? No. We can see it on CNN. It's not a classified state matter. It's not a security. Oil is selling over and above the budget. So why is the budget not performing? Then we are told that the level of theft of our crude, that I read in one paper that as much as 600,000 barrels per day is stolen. And because of the amount of oil that is stolen, what is left is not enough. It's now below the budgeted export volume. So are we now going to write national budget to factor in some allowance for stealing? Is that the option? So if it is not about the price, then it's about the volume of stealing. And you must ask the question, can your wife tell you that the 2 legs of the elephant is missing from the soup? You can be searching for the gizzard in a pot of soup. You can be searching for the gizzard because it's small. But when your cook tells you that the 2 legs of the fowl cannot be found in the pot, then that cook himself has a story to tell. And I want Labour to stand up on these issues. Who is stealing this oil? It's a major national issue. Because you are not going to get your wages as I went you if crude oil is stolen in the volume that it is. I'm worried, very, very worried, when the elephant leg is missing. Because if we can't find the elephant leg, who is going to search for cricket? So I think Nigeria has got to a point where all of us who have children, even those who don't have, who have questions, to try and begin to assist all of us in government to put on our thinking cap and protect the national interest. Those oil thieves must be caught. They must be exposed. And they must be dealt with according to law. A vessel cannot come to Nigeria waters the size of vessel that we see and sail off and it's not caught. What is the Nigerian Navy doing? What is the Navy doing? The Air Force cannot fly plane over the ship? I do not understand. Even as a governor, I don't. So let me say that I trust that in spite of all that I have said, you know that my faith in my country is never in doubt. I will never be in doubt. I believe that the promise of Nigeria must be fulfilled, not only to her citizens, but to black people everywhere on the planet. But that will not be when we choose to be on the fence. We must take side with the forces of progress. If we want change, we must define the character of the change and identify the change drivers. So it's not going to be easy, Peter, no anymore. It is either you fight with the forces we are defeated and we learn, or we stay by and when the ship sink, all of us will be drawn. Fidel Castro said it. I'm not sure I can quote him eloquently because I don't have any of his, I'm not as gifted. He said, when the ship carries so much weight of injustice, Only few people on the first class. And all the rest are dumped, abandoned in the cargo section and on the third class. The ship cannot be balanced. And if the weight of injustice keep increasing, there is no question about the next outcome. The ship will sink and all shall perish. I may not have quoted him exactly, but he won. So I ask us as organized labor to redefine the cabins in the Nigerian ship, to move more people from the cargo section into what the British will call the world traveler, so that all of us, I don't mind anybody being first class, somebody will be there will be a pilot, but this ship can sail to destination when all of us insist that we participate. So as you proceed with your elections, do what you always do. You don't need anybody's advice. You know best that in the union movement, where you come from is your business. Where you work is not the issue. The important thing is, who are you? What are you capable of delivering? Do you have the capacity to drive the changes that we desire? Can we trust you? Can we rely on you? Can you provide leadership at the hour of need? How you answer those questions will dictate how you vote. And I know you will do better. You will not jang your vote. You won't, because you don't have a history of doing that. Both when Kila was doing it in the living room and when it is now at the International Conference Center. May God bless you, give you courage, give you vision, give you the energy to continue to drive the wheel of progress so that Nigeria can fulfill its promise as the black richest nation on the planet. Thank you.
Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity, solidarity forever. We sing it all forever. Solidarity forever. Victory, there is victory for us. Victory, there is victory for us. In the struggle for us, there is victory for us. Forward, forward, ever, backward, never. In the
Your Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Your Excellency, the Comrade Governor and Chairman of today's occasion, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I have a very simple task, but sometimes it is complicated. Permit me, sirs, to recognize the presence in our midst of a former President of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Comrade S.A. Sowemimo. Please, let's put our hands together and appreciate the father. We also have with us a past president of the TUC, Comrade Dr. Mrs. Peace Obiajulu. Please, let's appreciate her. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, I'm going straight now to your address, but permit me, sir, to say that this address is important for the people of Nigeria. And it is now time, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for us to invite the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Ebele Goodluck Jonathan, ably represented by the Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Labor and Productivity, Chief Emeka Wogu, to come and give his address and declare this conference open.
The Governor of Edo State and Chairman of today's occasion, Comrade Adams OSHIOMHOLE. Well, he cracked a joke at the beginning of this, his speech. He talked about a broom as a symbol of a political party. Well, it may please you to know that the broom and the party is no longer within the contemplation of existing parties in this country, while the umbrella remains a symbol of a great party. Ladies and gentlemen, the color in this hall today is the color of the PDP party. You can see the acceptance is there. The representative of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tambuwal Waziri, thereby, who is ably represented by Comrade Honorable Aminu Suleiman. His Excellency the Deputy Governor of Niger State, Honorable Ahmed Ibeto, who has been referred to as Deputy Chief Servant. He is here representing the Chief Servant of Niger State. Other representatives of various governors here present. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labor, and Directors Generals here present. Members of the Diplomatic Corps here present. President of NLC, Comrade Abdul Wahid Omar. Comrade Peter Esele, President General of TUC, who is the outgoing President General. Other labor leaders here present, both past and current. Well, I will equally say that the chairman of this occasion said that being here as a representative of Mr. President, I will exercise powers. I will assure you that the powers I will exercise here are powers that will project the country, powers that would add value to what we are here today. Mr. President would have been here in person, but because of pre-scheduled meetings and engagement of the state, which made it impossible for him to be here, he asked me to come here to represent him and deliver his speech. And the occasion we are all gathered here today is the 9th Triennial National Delegates Conference. But from the flow of events, I think somehow along the line, we left the real purpose of today's conference. And today's conference has a beautiful theme, the labor movement in Nigeria, a centenary of unity, diversity, and nation building. In exercise of my powers, I will keep the speech I came with and do it in two parts. One, I must acknowledge, like the Comrade Governor said, that the speech of the President General is more of agonizing, lamentation, and without solution on how to go forward. It is more a speech of promoting transformation in Brazil through former President Lula, who incidentally is a labor leader and will remain a labor leader in Brazil. But I want to reassure you and make it known to you that the real meaning of transformation, like the chairman of today's occasion equally alluded to, is that transformation follows a process of decay and decadence. Brazil has had its own share of decay before the transformation came into place. Nigeria, our beloved country, many decades before even Comrade Peter Esele assumed office in 2007, was beset with all sorts of decay and decadence, which was brought about by various misgovernance and under the watch of various trade unions, including the period of service of Comrade Adams OSHIOMHOLE as president of NLC. Again, particularly, those things were brought about by various military interregnum. And Comrade Adams OSHIOMHOLE and other leaders had the misfortune or being around when we had those military interregnum. But luckily enough, he became president, he was president of NLC under a democratic Nigeria. And the problems equally continued up till 2007. Beyond 2007, we noticed some improvement through the 7-point agenda of the late president, President Omar Yar'Adua. And I'll tell you, we have seen our own period of decay. What is the actual thing we should do? We should move beyond the decay. Like the chairman said, from the ashes of the past, which is the old, a new world will be born. And I want to tell you that the process of transformation from the decay of the past and decadence has begun. It began in 2011 with the transformation agenda of Mr. President being put in place. And I tell you, as a proud Nigerian, Nigeria will get out of the doldrums and decadence that were occasioned in Brazil of the past. We will come out stronger, we will come out better. We need your support, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure that we will transform our society from what it used to be to what it ought to be. Within this short period, a lot of successes have been recorded under the transformation agenda. It is a process that has just begun. And in the 2 years of its existence, we have recorded a lot of success. What we require to do now is to continue, but not to talk down on our country. I've seen a country that will be great under the leadership of Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR. And we've started seeing the signs of greatness. I will go to the main address. If you look at the speech of the outgoing President General, you cannot see as part of his lamentation or agonizing in respect of railway. The reason being clear, that he agrees that this transformation agenda has taken bold steps to restore railway and railway transportation. Before now, that sector was moribund. But today, what we hear about is delay of trains coming to train stations, overloading, and trains not having been enough to take the passengers that are already there. Before now, we are aware that the power sector witnessed its own problems. But in the speech, power was not mentioned because in the last 2 years, a lot of transformation has taken place in power. In agric, statistics, numbers were mentioned. Currently in our country, numbers are returning. There is a great transformation going on in the agric sector. And we've recorded a lot of successes in the sector. With respect to roads, roads are being done all over the country. I'll give you a specific example. One example, you can now go from Lagos to Benin. You can go from Onitsha to Owerri. You can go from Enugu to Ikom. You can pass comfortably from Port Harcourt to Enugu. And the processes are ongoing. I want to draw your attention to another area that a lot has been done. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2011, you all agree that there was an electoral process that was acclaimed, not only in Nigeria, to be a process that was free and fair. And that process kickstarted the election of the COMRADE governor in Edo State. One man, one vote. One woman, one vote. One youth, one vote. It is still part of the transformation agenda of Mr. President. What we require in this whole process is patience. If you go through the history of Brazil or other countries that have gone through transformation, you will agree with me that the citizens